Hi guys, happy Tuesday. Welcome to the morning after. I am Sharleen Joynt, your host. And today we are recapping Hannah's season of The Bachelorette. It's season 15. I don't know how that's possible, but here we are. There's a lot to talk about. And this season is being brought to you by Starbucks at Home. And so we're kicking off each episode with the buzziest moment. And so this is a fun, lighthearted, or remarkable moment that I felt everyone is talking about or that just sort of stood out to me. And again, this is in partnership with Starbucks at Home, which is available at your grocery store. And so you can get your morning caffeine buzz on in the comfort of your own home. And so my buzziest moment of the episode was... I actually don't think this is a surprise. I'm making it sound all suspenseful, but I think it's pretty obvious. It's when Hannah confronts Scott about having a girlfriend. Now, there are a couple things to discuss here. First is that this has never been done in a premiere before. We've had guys, being ratted out over having a girlfriend before. We've had girlfriends show up on the show before, but never has it been done on night one. This is pretty big. It ended up being sort of a focal point of the entire episode. And the best part to me, what made it a buzzy moment, is that we saw a side of Hannah that we've only seen glimpses of up to this point. We saw it when she got sent home last week. It's this sort of strong, badass Hannah, but she sort of struggles with her self-worth and her confidence, and it really came through in this moment in how she handled Scott. And it just felt like a great way to kick off the season with a good, rah-rah, girl power feeling. And it also went a long way in proving herself to a lot of people who thought she was one way and when maybe she isn't. And even though Scott tried to finagle and manipulate his way out of his web of lies, I wrote more about this. I love that she saw right through it and was having none of it. And it's really cool to see this side of her, especially given how nervous and tongue-tied she has a tendency to become. So yes, this was the first taste of Bachelorette versus contestant Hannah, and I was into it. She was powerful and she took control, and yeah, that was last night's buzziest moment. All right, we're going through in chronological order as we always do. I'll start off with some hometown packages that stood out to me. I actually thought these were really solid intro videos this year. Sometimes they're a little ho-hum, but these ones were really good. I really liked Tyler, the contractor / dancer, the one who was 2 courses away from being a dance minor. I thought the dancing was pretty cute in the half-built house. I thought that was really fun. It was unexpected. Joe, the box man, I love this. I thought he was hilarious. Andy jokes, actually, that if he could go back in time, he would get into the corrugated box business. So there you go. Joe's in the right business. And I just love his accent. I just thought he was fun and didn't take himself too seriously. Next, I really liked Matt Donald, the one who... I found this fascinating that both his parents are deaf and his brother is deaf. I just think that's... I just wanted to know more about Matt Donald and his family and how it works. I found him so charming and charismatic, but also modest. And I liked that he could admit that he doesn't normally approach women. We always tend to get the kind of guy that's I go after what I want. And I just think it's a lot more, especially in this day and age where men don't really approach women anymore. I just loved the honesty. I think more men are like him than the opposite. So yeah, I was really into Matt Donald. All right, Hannah. We get a little background on Hannah. So I really like Hannah, and I liked this fine. The background about her history with pageants and not feeling good enough. This is fine because I understand pageants are a huge part of her life, of course, but then we find out, in passing during a conversation with Scott, that she is an interior designer. Does she have a degree in that, or is this something that she's done? I did a quick Google. It seems that she has worked as an interior designer, and I was how has that not come up? Why wouldn't that come up in the preview about her to the season about her? It just made no sense that it wouldn't even be touched on that she was an interior designer or works part-time as an interior. Just something about her career beyond being Miss Alabama. We know that she's a pageant girl, and I think that's wonderful. I know that it takes a lot to become one. I just think that you know, I just think that that's kind of an interesting anecdote that I would have been interested to have heard more about. Okay, moving on. My notable one-on-one times from last night. And I mean, these, I'm pretty much going to mention the ones that were shown, which means that these are the people that, you know, are the ones to watch. Luke P. Okay, so Luke P, I mean, we know Luke P's going far. He got the first impression rose. He's clearly the one to watch this season. In his one-on-one time, he really showed to me that he's good with women. Like, better than I was expecting, actually, because based on his intro video, I thought he was a little, you know, a little too Bachelorette perfect, and maybe the kind of guy that is a personal trainer who relies on his looks. But the way he dealt with Hannah was actually really, he was smoother than I was expecting. And he was very effusive. He played up feeling like behind his friends and family in terms of being married and having kids, despite being 24. This blows my mind. I guess I'm from a different place, but 24, you're not behind. He said a really good line, which was, "I'm already really into you, so you have some catching up to do." That's pretty smooth. And yeah, I like him. I don't, honestly, I'm not a huge Luke P fan. I find him a little too polished. He's a little too like ding, like he has his halo and he's ready to be on The Bachelorette. And he's a major front runner. We're going to see a lot of Luke P. Maybe he will change my mind about him. Mike. In his one-on-one time, I wrote that he's a great listener. I wrote that in all caps. And he really reads to me as a man among boys. He's 31. He just it's funny how just those, 5 to 7 years can make such a difference. He just really comes off as more mature and just sort of confident in a quiet way. Connor J, half Asian. You guys know I always have to point out half Asian. And I gotta say though, I don't really understand getting out of the limo and speaking another language if it's not your mother tongue. Because at that point you're just sort of showing off and you're like, I can also speak this language. It's one thing if it's your mother tongue and you're like, hey, this is like a huge part of who I am and my culture. It's another thing to be like, je parle français, for no reason. Anyway, the one-on-one time, he threw Hannah a bachelorette party. This is cute. I just don't buy the chemistry here. I think Connor J is going to go to about episode 5 or so. Yeah. Okay, next up we have Cam, the freestyle rapper. He's the one who got the rose after the final rose. I want to like Cam so badly, and that's because he feels really off the beaten path for this show. Like, he's just different from your typical guy that gets that first rose. And I really love that Hannah gave it to him as opposed to, say, Luke P after the final rose. He's just a little different than what you would expect. However, I just feel like Cam is trying a little too hard. He speaks a little too much in catchphrases. When he was asked how he got to be so good at freestyling, his answer was, ABC, always be Cam. And just who says that? Who says that? I just really wish he hadn't. And that wasn't the only time. He kind of just dropped these like catchphrases that felt sort of like rehearsed and prepared instead of just being kind of normal. Like, you're already rapping all the time. You don't need to also, when in conversation, have something prepared, in my opinion. Anyway, he got the first kiss, so what do I know? Okay, Jed. He had his one-on-one time and he sang and played the guitar for Hannah. I'm always a bit suspicious of people who display their talents that can benefit from being seen by millions of people on national television on the very first night. That said, he was really good. So, I can't knock him for it. He sang really well, and that I can only imagine how nerve-wracking that would be in that situation. So yeah, he did well. Joe, I like Joe. He was entertaining. The box man. He said, "You check all my boxes." I wrote in all caps, "He amuses me." And, episodes like this would be a lot less interesting without the Joes of the world. So even though he ended up going home and I'm sad about it, he entertained me. Next up we have Peter. I mean, this is major front runner. Peter, you'll see in my Flair recap, he's my top front runner. Good natural conversation between him and Hannah about his aviation family. Katie, while watching, was like, wow, she's really into him, which I think says a lot because Katie knows Hannah really well. The full conversation was shown, full limo exit was shown. He had a hometown package. My favorite thing probably about this is that there's good chemistry, but it feels natural and slow moving. It felt like, hey, we're just getting to know each other and we're learning about each other. We don't need to be like, okay, let's kiss now. It just felt like more naturally paced. It just felt like we know there's a kiss coming. We know there's something there. And it just, it keeps us wanting more instead of less. Okay, so next we have Scott. Okay, so Scott, the one with the girlfriend. Hannah confronts him. This starts out pretty par for the course. Scott denies and denies that he has a girlfriend, and then it gradually becomes kind of, fishy, because it becomes, she messaged me Monday to, we were dating until Monday. It's kind of like, well, which one was it? And then things got a little rough where he hyper manipulatively turns things around on her and claims that he could make the same complaint about her and Colton. Oh, just everything about this guy gives me the heebie-jeebies. That kind of manipulation and twisting the blame, and when it doesn't even, it's not even this remotely the same thing. Are girls falling for this? It scares me. I hope the girl that was waiting for him back home promptly broke up with him when she saw that. And if girlfriend, if you happen to read my recaps and watch my videos, break up with that guy, that is, yeah, that's not a good sign. He's got a lot of growing up to do. And he really has to learn how to value women, because he obviously, up until this point, hasn't and does not. Connor S. I love how Connor S. emphasized his skepticism, but leading towards having softened his stance on it, which it always means more. Feelings and developments of feelings and just sort of becoming invested in this situation always means more when it comes from a place of skepticism. Someone that just sort of comes in ready to fall in love with whomever, I just don't buy it as much. And so, yeah, I was into Connor S. I just thought he seemed natural. He seems a little young, but Hannah's also young, with the same age. It just felt like a young, innocent, sweet love, and they had a kiss. And yeah, I was a bit surprised I didn't see Connor S. as being a front runner based on the limo entrance, or not the limo, the fence jump entrance. But he is, and I'm into it. I like Connor S. So that's it for my one-on-ones. At the rose ceremony, nothing too remarkable happened, except that Matt Donald went home. I was really upset about it. I wrote no. Grocery Joe 2.0 right here. Let's get Matt Donald on Bachelor in Paradise, please, because I want to see more of him. So yeah, all in all, a great premiere. Be sure to read my Flair recap and my Pretty Pandas recap, which will come out later this week. And yes, thank you for tuning in to The Morning After, and I'll see you here next week.